Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I thought I would talk to you about all the shoes that are in my running rotation. Now, granted, some of these shoes don't get a whole lot of showtime, if you will, because I do have 13 pairs of running shoes right now, which I know that probably sounds like a lot for some people and barely any for others. I mean, you know, think of folks like Seth James Damore, who has a Shudio, an entire shed of pairs of running shoes. I don't have that. I'm not going that far, but I do have 13 pairs, which is enough that I don't get to wear every pair in the run of a week. You know, there's only 7 days in a run of a week, so some of these are going to sit out for a little while. Well, that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and get started, talk to you about them. I've got them kind of broken down in a couple little categories, and yeah, let's just start it off. Let's start off with shoes that are kind of a little bit more up-tempo. Maybe you could race like a 5K or a 10K in these, do some speed work in them. And I'm going to start it off with the Adidas SL20. So these are shoes that Ed Bud here on YouTube, he raved about these for a long time. The SL20. People like Running with Mark has mentioned them before, I believe, or at least other Adidas shoes, and you know, they were just so intriguing for a long time, and I finally got a pair on sale here in Canada. I think I ended up paying like 70 bucks for them or something like that, and they're just a light and fast shoe. So the Adidas SL20, it weighs 8.1 ounces or 230 grams in a US men's 9, which is what I wear. I wear actually either an 8.5 or a 9. There's some shoes that I've just traditionally worn 8.5, and I find that just works better for me. But a 9 is just fine as well. To be honest with you, if you've seen any of my old views, like old review videos or like running shoe videos or whatever, I've actually thrifted a couple pairs before just to like try them out. You know, as you know, if they looked good, like if they didn't look all that worn. Just to kind of like get a feel for a model. And I actually wore in a pair of Asics Nimbus 21s that were a size 10. And yes, they were large, but they weren't like clown shoe goofy on me. So I feel like there's some you know, fluctuation in my size, but 8.5 or 9. So anyway, Adidas SL20, 8.1 ounces, 230 grams. They do have a 10 mil drop, heel to toe drop. That's on the higher side, of course. Some people don't like a high drop. I don't mind it. I'm used to running in Saucony's, the Ride series for the last 5 years, so I'm used to an 8 mil drop. These Adidas SL20 though, you know, like they're a grippy shoe. They've got that continental rubber, but they're light, you know, that foam is very light. So out of that 8.1 ounces, it doesn't feel like the shoe is bottom heavy. It actually feels like, you know, the upper has more of the weight, and the foam just weighs nothing, the light strike. So it really just makes it feel even lighter than it is. So I've used it for a 5K before. I use it for if I'm just going out for I want to do a run that's maybe going to have a few pickups, like a few like 1 minute or 2 minute intervals where you know, picking up the pace. I think it's a very versatile shoe. Probably doesn't have as enough cushioning to go for me more than say like a 10-mile. I wouldn't probably use it for a half marathon. I think there are better shoes for that for me personally, but I think a 5 or 10K, absolutely. Okay, next up is the Puma Ultraride. So this is a surprising shoe, and this is another one I found on Ed Bud's channel. So the Puma Ultraride, this is an odd shoe. It looks kind of funky, as you can see from the like negative space in the middle, and it's got a partial TPU plate in there, so it's got a little bit of that snap. It gives you some rebound, and it's not as light of a shoe as it looks or even feels. In a men's size 9, it's 8.6 ounces, 243 grams, 12 mil drop, so it's a very high drop. But I find with that negative space in there and that TPU plate, you just get a ton of rebound. And I used that for a 10K race, and I felt like it was perfect. There's not a lot of cushion. There is not a lot of softness with this shoe. This is a racing flat feel. You don't want to run it for too much longer than that. You know, my legs were pretty trashed. Some of that was being a little bit out of shape, but like that was a 10K. That was enough distance for that one. But I got it super cheap. I got that for, I think it was like 50 bucks, maybe 40 or $50 Canadian. So like, you know, 30, $35 US or something like that. And just, you know, kind of a sleeper hit of a shoe. I love it. The other two I've kind of got in this category here are the Saucony Kinvaras. I actually have a pair of 8s that I just picked up. So they were new, but we're on the Kinvara 12 now, and or maybe even the 13's coming out soon. But the 8, it was on like super clearance. Somebody must have found some in a warehouse somewhere, and I bought it through an online retailer, and got it for like, I mean, $40 or something stupid. So I know that sometimes people will say that foams will just naturally break down over time, but even if they're not in use. But honestly, the Kinvara 8, I mean, I've used it a couple of times now. It feels great. It feels just like a fresh pair of Kinvaras, and maybe I won't get the same lifespan out of them, but that's okay for that price point. The Kinvara 11 is another pair that I have, and this is one of my favorite shoes, honestly, of all time. I absolutely love the Kinvara, and this is something that I did my time trial half marathon in last November, so about a year ago. Got a personal best of like 10 minutes. Now granted, I hadn't really up to that point put a lot of focus on the half marathon distance, so I was pretty much guaranteed to get a PR, but it was still a really, really solid effort, and it was perfect in the faster training. Like, I can do intervals in this shoe. I could race a 5 or a 10K for sure. I mean, I think I probably would use the SL20 or the Ultra Rides for that, because they have that little bit more of a racing flat feel. But the Kinvara is lighter than both of them, even though they have a softer bit of foam and more foam there. The Kinvara 11 is 7.8 ounces, 222 grams. They only have a 4mm drop, so they definitely feel fast as well in that regard. When I need to just get out there and get invigorated on a run, I put the Kinvaras on. If I'm feeling sluggish for a few days and it's like, I put the Kinvaras on, and they just get me moving. And I think it might have something to do with that lower drop as well. So 2 pairs of Kinvaras. Getting into shoes that Seth would probably call like tweeners. I don't know if he has the same love for the Nova Blast as Andy, Force Indeed Runner, has for the Nova Blast. I see he just retired his V1s, version 1s today. Feel for you, man, because, man, these are great shoes. So I've got 2 pairs of Nova Blast. This is the original version, not the Nova Blast 2 that just came out. If you haven't already been able to tell, I am a thrifty bastard. I like to wait at least a year to get year-old models, maybe 2-year-old models, or wait for sales and deals and all kinds of things like that. So I got 2 pairs of the Nova Blast, and you know, some people love them, some people hate them. I am in the love category, and I think that this falls into a shoe that I can go out and run easy in them because they're plenty comfortable. They've got, you know, loads of stack height and everything, but they make me want to run faster. So they're 9.2 ounces, 261 grams in my US size 9, but they just feel so much lighter than that. They feel like, I mean, they could be as light as the Kinvaras, honestly. So, but, you know, I feel like they're going to be better for just eating up lots of training miles, and mostly going out on those like maybe longer or steady or just easy runs, but also with the ability to just kind of pick it up and put a little bit of something in there, maybe without going too crazy. But yeah, they might be a great half marathon shoe as well, actually. Maybe even a marathon, I don't know. 2 more that fall into this category, kind of very different than the Nova Blast, but I feel like they kind of do the same thing for me in a way. I've got a pair of the original, so version 1 of the Reebok Forever Floatride Energies. I know the Energy 3 is out right now, big fan favorite. Energy 2 is out as well, big fan favorite. The Energy 1, I like it, I really do. And actually it's like, what, 3 years old or something now, so it's got that original like Reebok, almost like the Zelda Triforce symbol on it. So the Energy, it's heavier than it feels. It's a 9.3 ounce, 264 gram shoe, 10 mil drop. But again, I just feel like it's a great daily trainer where it's a firmer ride. It reminds me a lot of like the Saucony Ride and other Saucony shoes, where it's got that firmer feel. You know, it's not gonna like, you know, kiss your feet or anything like that. So you feel like you do get some good responsiveness and can really pick it up if you want. Now, I use them specifically and only on the treadmill because I needed to dedicate one pair of shoes to just keep clean and keep inside for treadmill use. So that's the shoes that I've used for that. The other Reeboks that I have are the Floatride Grow. And I first saw these on Kofuzi's channel, and they're basically like the Floatride Energy, very similar, but you know, so 9.3 ounces, 264 grams, 9 mil drop, 9.5 mil drop, I think the website actually says. But so basically the same shoe as the Energy, but made out of a lot of plant-based materials, eucalyptus upper, real, rubber tree like outsole. The foam, I believe, is made out of like an algae-based foam or something like that. Like a lot of just really cool things going on with that shoe. It's not 100% plant-based, but like I forget the percentages, but like a lot of the materials are plant-based. So really, really cool. And again, one that I can just go out there and like blast a 10 miler in and just feel really comfortable. Or I can go out and do like a tempo run or something like that. So yeah, it feels really great, and it's a good, tweener shoe, as Seth would say. All right, getting into daily trainers. This is a category that I've got a few in just because it's such a, so many shoes really fall into this category. So I'll run through these pretty quickly because they'll sort of do the same thing. But the Pegasus 37. So Nike Pegasus 37. I'd never owned a Nike in my life up until this past summer. I grabbed a pair of the 37s on sale, and so they are 9.6 ounces and they are 274 grams, a 10 mil drop. They feel a little bit lighter than that, but they're I'm not going to say they're clunky, but you notice that they do have like quite a bit of stack height. And you notice that they're just a little bit of a bigger shoe. But that's good because, they keep you protected. They keep me feeling pretty comfortable when I'm out there just on those daily runs. So nothing special as far as I'm concerned, but a good shoe. And it was a good value for the price I paid, for sure. Next up is the Saucony Ride ISO 2. So the Saucony Ride series, I talked about them before. I started off running in 2016 and I bought myself a pair of the Ride 8s. I went through a couple pairs of Ride 8s, probably 3 pairs of Ride 9s, a couple pairs of Ride 10s. I love the Saucony Rides. Like they were just a do-it-all. And I probably could have put these up in the previous category, but now that I have more shoes, I use them really just for like easy, just regular daily training. But I've run 3 marathons in Saucony Rides. I've done all the training for all those marathons, including all the different speed works and everything in those Saucony Rides, because those were the only shoes I had. I just had multiple versions or multiple pairs of the same shoes, whether it was the 8s, 9s, or 10s. Those were the shoes that got me through all of my running up through 2018. Every bit of it, except for maybe I think I had a pair of Asics once that were like a stability shoe, but I didn't actually know that. Like I was new to running, didn't know anything, so I bought like this clearance shoe and realized they're just not for me. So I used them a few times, but other than probably like less than 30 kilometers of all my running, I put in thousands of kilometers on Saucony Rides. So the Ride ISO 2 is basically like the Ride 12. For some reason, after the Ride 10s, they went to the Ride ISO 2, and now they went back to the Ride 13 and 14. So great shoe though, 9.8 ounces, 278 grams. So just, under that 10 ounce mark for US 9, that's fine. 8 mil drop, daily trainer, it's going to get it done. Next one I've got is, it surprised me when I looked up the weight for these. This is the Brooks Revel 2. Again, I had never worn Brooks, but I bought them on clearance. The Brooks Revel 2 at this point is like a 2 or maybe 3-year-old model, because I think the 4 is out, maybe the 5 is out. I don't even know. But the Brooks Revel 2 is another one that I found like on kind of like a sports outlet store. Online on their website. I noticed that it was like super cheap, like $50 clearance shoe or something like that, and I was like, what the hell, I want to try Brooks, let's go for it. And this is a surprisingly good shoe. I love this shoe more than I thought I ever would, to be honest with you. I like the looks of it, it felt fine, and like I went out for a few runs with it and was like, yeah, okay, that's a cool shoe. And then now the more that I use it, the more I love it. It is so comfortable. It's probably like, going to cap out for me at like 10 to 15 kilometers. Probably not going to like run long in it, but it's 10.2 ounces, 289 grams. It feels lighter than that. It feels like you're just floating along. And I don't know if it's because it has a 12 mil drop that it just like, it's such a drop that it just kind of like naturally just rolls you forward. But I just find it so easy to just go out and just clock 8 or 10K in that shoe and just feel like I didn't even run. Like, it's just a brilliant, brilliant shoe. And I love that knit upper. Like, I know it's not the lightest shoe, it's not the coolest shoe, but it's one of my favorites. All right, so earlier I was talking about how I had thrifted a pair of Nimbus 21. Those have actually been relegated to my lawn mowing shoes. Like, they're pretty worn now, but I did get on a great sale. They're normally $200 Canadian when they were new, the Nimbus 22. I got it for $130, and so the Nimbus 22 is a just great, max cushion, kind of easy day, recovery day, long run day trainer. And I knew it was a heavy shoe, but again, it actually kind of surprised me when I looked it up. 10.9 ounces. Now that's a bit of a tank, especially for just a US 9, but honestly, it does not feel that heavy underfoot. And I think it's just because it's so comfortable and it just feels so effortless just to run in something so comfortable that it just doesn't feel like it's that heavy. So 10.9 ounces, 309 grams, 10 mil drop. That's my easy day, recovery day, long run day shoe, and I guarantee I could just run all day in that and just feel amazing. It just massages my feet. I love the Nimbus 22. All right, second to last is the HOKA Bandai 7. Again, it's a few models old now because I think we're on like the Bandai X or Bandai the 10. I don't know. Surprisingly, even with all of this stack height, it actually weighs less than the Nimbus. I didn't think that would be the case, but when I was looking it up, in fact, it is. Now, this is a shoe that actually does feel heavy to me. 10.7 ounces, 303 grams. I believe that. Like, it does feel heavy. It's only got a 4 mil drop, so it, it's not like I feel like I'm really up on stilts, even though there's a ton of stack height. But it's just marshmallows, man. That's just like running on marshmallows. It just feels so comfortable. Now, I've got it, for me, I use it kind of as like an easy run, recovery run sort of a thing. I don't know how much I'll use it on long runs. It probably can be a great long run shoe, but I had a bad experience with it in the summer, and it may just be because it's a warm shoe, and it was a hot day, and I ran like 18 kilometers or 11 point something miles or something like that. And it was hot, and my feet got really sweaty, and I got bad blisters underneath the balls of both feet. Exact same spot, and I think it's because of the way the inside of the HOKA, it's a little bit narrow, and I just think because of the heat, the extra rubbing that I wasn't used to with other shoes, all of those things. But I am a little bit tentative in taking it above, say, 10K, but I'm going to try it out in cooler weather and see how it goes. So I don't know if it was just all the heat and everything else that was contributing to that as well, but in either case, very comfortable shoe, and I got it for 50 bucks. It was barely worn. A friend of mine sold it to me for 50 bucks. He had purchased it, tried it a few times. The shoes had less than 40 kilometers on them when I got them, and I think they're normally like $150 or $160 shoe, maybe even closer to 200. So yeah, I was really pumped on that. Couldn't turn it down. Last pair of shoes I've got that I'll talk about. Wow, this video is almost 20 minutes. Sorry, guys. The last shoe that I've got to talk about, and again, this is one of my favorite shoes, is the Saucony Mad River trail shoe. Yes, I do have one dedicated trail shoe, and it's the Saucony Mad River. And this is basically the Saucony Kinvara of trail shoes. It's a 4 mil drop. It's surprisingly heavy at 10.9 ounces. And I say surprisingly because it does not feel like that at all. It feels like a lightweight shoe. Like, when I looked up the weight on these, I really had to look at a couple sources and say, wait, is that right? Because it feels like an 8-ounce shoe underfoot. 4 mil drop, trail shoe, very aggressive lugs, like super aggressive lugs. Like, It makes sense that it's 10.9 ounces, but it doesn't feel like that underfoot. I can fly with this thing on over technical stuff, you know, any surface like that I'm gonna have around here anyway. It's gonna handle anything that I can throw at it for sure, that I'm physically capable of doing. This shoe can do it. I love it. It's sad, I don't get to do a lot of trail running, and I don't end up doing a lot of trail running. I don't count like the main path, like, you know, the old railroad track that's been converted to groomed trail or semi-groomed here in my new place. I can wear road shoes on that, so I don't really count that. I'm talking, you know, the good stuff, the off-road, the through the woods kind of stuff. I don't get a lot of that stuff in, but I see more of it in my future. I really enjoy it, and the Saucony Mad River trail shoe can absolutely handle it. So that is that. That are my 13 pairs of shoes that are in my current lineup. I will not be buying any more shoes for quite a long time because, again, you know, only 7 days in the week, 13 pairs of shoes. It's going to take a while to get some mileage on these. So I've got lots of shoe life left before I need to start buying some new shoes. So yeah, so that's it. You know, pretty good rotation, and I try to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes I'm just feeling a certain shoe and that's what I grab, but they all have a pretty good purpose for me, and a few of them have, you know, dual purpose that I can use. And yeah, so I don't know. Let me know what you think of that. Let me know if you've tried these, if there are some of these that you like, some of these you don't like, what your shoe rotation is. And I guess that's about it. So I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching this very long and long-winded video. I get excited about running shoes and running in general, in case you haven't noticed. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one, guys. Peace.